Here again. What is all this? I mean, does anyone ever ask a question? But then you have the serpentine imagery, which is commonly brought in a lot. We've already looked at that. Look at this again. The colors. We know where those colors come from and how common they are used in religious symbolism. There's Natalie Portman, the model. Python is the actual snake, or the name at least, that was used at the Oracle of Delphi. The priestess was called Pythonia. Pythonia was connected to the female oracle. She lived in the caves underneath Delphi and would come out when there was enough smoke, and often in the night, to come out and give prophecies and readings, spending most of their time in the dark, in the underworld, so that the unconscious mind works more, the melatonin is not as destroyed, you see. And the symbol of the python literally represented that. Pythagoras, the very word Pythagoras, means I am the python priest, the clairvoyant, the wise one. Of course, we know it's also a symbol of the Kundalini as well. This guy's making the symbol, I think it's of Osiris slain. I'm not sure, I'm pretty much sure it's a symbol of Osiris slain. It may be wrong there, it might be the symbol of Osiris risen, I'll have to double check that. Or it can be a stylized serpent, as in this case. Where does it come from? Again, not only from Greece, but much earlier than that. The symbol of the earth god is either known as Seb or Jeb or Geb. It's one of the people, one or two books think that the name of the serpent god being Jeb is where the Masonic G comes from. That's one origin of the Masonic G. I disagree. I thought that myself for a long time until I went further and found out that it actually refers to the Gaionum, the elite princes of light that hide behind Masonry and are once upon a time connected to the group you may be familiar with, the Sadducees. Elite Sadducees, elite Pharisees. Their elite schools are called the Gaion or the Gaionum. I've gone into that in great detail in the Irish Origins book and DVD. Here it is again, the symbol of the serpent. And the whole idea of enclosure, and the whole idea of the precinct, the sacred precinct, that there's an inner wisdom and an outer wisdom. And the old genetic sorcerers who've been moving technology forward, they're still using the symbolism that pertains to their cult and their order. Here it is in the Sun microsystem symbol and various others. Pepsi being the Egyptian name for the devil, Peppa, or Apep, or Apophis, or Pepsa. Very, very ancient name. There's one of the original symbols, a purely astrological. Urania, or Spica, Virgo. But if she's holding the earth, it's often Urania, the heavens, the heavenly goddess. It can be stylized again, the serpent can be stylized in various ways to look like the Eye of Horus. Here we have it stylized again with a S. Here we have it stylized, it's clearly a serpent, but this one refers to a group of off-world dragons, right? The Superman movies, especially the original ones, clearly show you that this is a world of immortals who use all forms of crystalline technology and super advanced computers and have power, great spiritual power like the adepts of old in the mythologies of the world. But the S is interesting. This is an example I want you to look at to show you how clever and brilliant these designers are. Jinn is known to Arabic scholars as being the race of demons or cherubim, the sort of spiritual daemonic, I don't mean demonic, but daemonic agencies is the jinn, right? On the J and the I are styled to look like a man, but the undulations of the two ends looks like a dragon man. See how well that's done? And there you have the DNA spiral as well, which people who are familiar with my Atlantis work will really note that why it's important that the man is connected to the dragon. A really incredible logo, that. Sobe is a play on the Egyptian Sobek, who was the friendly crocodile god, the friendly guardian, the original Holy Spirit. Did you know that the earliest version of the Holy Spirit was actually Sobek, the crocodile god? What's it doing on a product with little lizards? Because they know the Egyptian symbolism, and they know that your subconscious understands that that word refers to the Holy Spirit. So when you're drinking in that product, there's a whole occult thing going on. I mean, this would be a lunatic lecture if this didn't have the most imminent, consequences to our lives. That's not an English word. Where did it come from? Even the O is stylized not only like the symbol of the sun in astrology, but like the female breast is that shape. S is the most subliminal of all of the terms of the English language. They've even made the little reptiles there look like the yin-yang. So many aspects to this. These guys have more right to use the dragon because they are connected to that lineage. Bacardi. David Icke had pointed out in one of his books that the British Telecom man is not only Pan or Mercury or whatever, but the red part of his body there, the arm leading down to the leg, is the serpent, the red serpent. CNN not only has the serpentine undulations, but the very word, if you put the vowels back, Khan, means serpent in Hebrew and many other languages. Canaan, Khan, what do you got down in the south of France? Can, right? Those are all words. Cohen, Kieran, those are words that directly mean the serpent. And of course, Pepsi were big behind the Obama presidency. Their new logo looks like the eye of a dragon. It's a stylized eye. Here are symbols that were made for the Queen of England, and they actually are in Buckingham Palace. They're directly linked to an order known as the Order of the Garter. I put them here because you can do it the other way. You can first, like I said about the Duncan's ritual, go to the Masonic books, go to that literature, learn what their symbols are first, right? And then go out into the public world and note them. I kind of did a bit of both. I started partly with the world of album covers and movies and rock videos, and then got into the esoteric. But a lot of it was also, I was familiar with the esoteric, and it took me some time to connect the two. So there's no rules. You can find it whatever way you want. Look at the serpent there. Look at the dove. Look at I think they have an owl, yeah. Bohemian Grove, and the lion. And yet these are not just royal symbols. These are symbols that are directly related to the Order of the Garter, which along with the Order of St. Michael and St. George is one of the most elite orders in the world. Those boys control it all. And the Order of the Garter itself goes back to Egypt and to the worship of the god Set, who's the Egyptian version of Satan in many traditions, you see. You have the phoenix as well. Very, very interesting stuff. Here's a typical Masonic tombstone. Go up here to the Riedbergsplatsen. I'll teach you Swedish yet. I think it's Redbergsplatsen in English, but Riedbergsplatsen over there, they have the big graveyard that I've noticed, loaded with the elite families of Göteborg that are buried up there. Just take a camera and go up there one day. It's unbelievable. I said I'd learned 2 Swedish words while I was here. What was it? Told a friend, kackerlackor and schuckling. I'll take those back with me. He goes, you shouldn't speak bad of Swedish politicians that way, Learn how to say something better about them. Anyway, it says, the brazen serpent, the protecting archon, basically. Here it is on a symbol that was actually one of the national symbols of America. Did you know that this was going to be on the dollar bill? I mean, this was literally one. They had the pyramid and they were surrounded by serpents. And it goes all back to this dragon court of ancient times. Very ancient symbols. This is an old Irish or Scottish Pictish showing not only the Malta cross, the swastika and the serpents. So it's very, very ancient. Then you turn and say, look, here's a perfect example, right? Say you're studying this stuff and you come across these logos like the one on the right, and you're walking down the street one day and you see an Alfa Romeo, or whatever, or a bank or something like that. And you go, wait a minute. Now you see 1 or 2 and you'll never, like most people in the world, they never make the connection. But eventually a point will come where, you're going to see so much of this that you're going to start asking these questions. And it's a perfectly legitimate study. Just because they don't teach it in school doesn't make that any less true. Here's an emblem of the Thule Society of Germany, showing the skull, the swastika, and the serpents, and the oak leaves. Serpents, you see. There's the 4 letters of the name of Jehovah. It runs left to right. Yod, He, Vav, He is the name of God or Jehovah or Yahweh. And there you see the enclosing serpent, and then the Masonic compass and rule. And the leaves of the tree of life. The old Druidic pagan tie-in.